This is Matt for Boxing Social in association with Forged Irish Stout, Empire Fight Store, freebets.com. Delighted to be joined by Billy Nelson. Billy, first off, I'd ask you how you are, but I know you've got a bit of a cold. How are you getting on in general? Everything going all right?
The gym's busy, mate. The gym's very busy. I've never, I don't think, I could say this with whole sincerity, that I don't think any Scottish trainers ever had a gym with the talent that I've got in the gym just now. And I'm very, very lucky and grateful to
aside from obviously Martin Bakole, and we'll come on to him in a bit. You've obviously got the likes of Sultan Zabek in there and a whole host of other fighters. What's exciting you about sort of what's coming up in the next coming months in terms of who you're working with and the fights that could be made? Let us know a little bit.
Well, in the next 9 months, 9 months to a year, I would be super, super confident having 3 guys fighting for world titles. Wow. So, very, very confident.
Just a little sidebar away from obviously your gym, your stable. I want to touch on a heavyweight fight from this weekend in Frazer, Clarke and Fabio Wardley. Now, a lot of people, I don't think, expected what they saw kind of thing. I think we saw a bit of everything. Frazer, people have been asking, what are we going to see here? He's got this amateur background, the pedigree, sparred, a who's who of everybody, but we've not seen it in the pros. He delivered. And Fabio Wardley, I mean, that nose was done from about round 2 and just kept coming and coming and coming. Just give me your reaction to that fight. A great advert for a British title fight.
That's exactly what it was. A great, great domestic fight. That's what it was. A great, great domestic fight. Both boys can be immensely proud of themselves. Both their coaches can be immensely proud of themselves because they've got both their boys in, excellent condition. Considering, to withstand the beatings that both of them got and still be there at the end of the fight, kudos to both men. I personally thought Clarke won the fight by a couple of rounds due to excellent use of his jab at certain points of the fight. I thought it was a tad unlucky getting a point deducted.
Yeah.
The referee says he gave them 3 warnings. Well, they weren't the clear and obvious warnings to anybody, I think. Mm-hmm. I think people were quite stunned when they got a point deducted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed to, it almost seemed to come out of nowhere. Normally you see someone taken to the corner and really sort of given a firm warning. And I think the person I was watching it with said, has there been a warning for that? Can they just take a point off randomly? I thought you had to get go down that line of an initial.
I think it all depends on the intent and the severity of the foul.
Yeah. In terms of like the scoring of it, I know obviously you had Frazer slightly ahead, but it's one of them fights that a lot of people watched and said, you know what, a point either way or a draw. Let's run this back. You'd be happy to see this. You'd be happy to see a rematch, surely, between these two.
Oh, I think it'd be. I think it'd be an even bigger fight than that one. But my fear for both of them is that fight could have took a lot out of both of them. Yeah. Moving forward. But with the fullest of respect, Big Frazer's my big pal, and I've got all the time in the world for the big man. He's been very, very helpful to me and Martin Bakole, and with some sound advice that he's given us. But he's 30-year-old. Maybe he could go a different direction, and maybe they could meet maybe in a year or 18 months' time or 2 years' time, because he'll only be 32. If people talk, listen, I was reading people talking about Frazer's supposedly lack of experience. He's fought the best of the best.
Yeah,
he's been in with Philip Hrgovic, I'm sure, Joe Joyce, and just those two names far outweigh anything or anybody that Fabio had ever fought. And I know it was only 5 rounds, but 5 rounds a year, halfway there, nearly halfway there, a British title shot, isn't he? Mm-hmm. He's had huge experience. He sparred the best in the world. It was Anthony Joshua's main sparring partner down at English Institute of Sport. The experience you gain for that is invaluable.
In terms of, you mentioned their experience then, so how impressed are you with Fabio Wardley, who's won the sport with, I believe, 4 white collars And, you know, at the start, he was slowly progressing. He's took on, I mean, at the time, before the David Adelaide fight, everyone was saying that was a 50-50. He goes out there, proves a point, keeps taking fights. He's sort of in a good position where, because he's his own man, he's just bouncing from promoter to promoter, doing whatever he wants to do. And but how impressed are you with him and his resolve as well? I mean, what a tough man.
Oh, very tough. I mean, my hat goes off to him, you know. Fortunately, Frazer's not the biggest puncher in the world, you know, but or he could have been in a world of trouble. I think if you look at it closely and scrutinise it, and you've got to take positives and negatives out of the fight as well as a coach, you know. But if I was his coach, I'd be saying, well, if a bigger punching heavyweight was in against us there, the defence let him down quite badly. I thought his defence was pretty poor, you know, with the fullest of respect. But he made up for that in sheer grit, determination, and by the way, God put the balls right in the right place for him, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, indeed. Right, let's move on. Martin Bakole, where are we at? Where are we going?
Well, we're fighting for a final eliminator for the WBA title on the 31st of May. The promoter will be announcing it in due course, but we know it's the 31st of May. When that's entirely up to the promoter when they're going to announce it.
But happy with that sort of. I feel like it's almost like a bit of a light at the end of a tunnel. Everyone's been talking about after his performance in Saudi, where he ended up swallowing the wasp and still coming through. And what's next? Who's he going to get? And with the heavyweight mix at the minute, especially out over there, you know, there's so many options for the big man at the minute. But final eliminator confirmed. I'm happy that there's finally, you know, something there for you to go for.
100%. The WBA are fully behind Martin Bakole and his ambitions to become the WBA world champion. I think it'd be great for Africa to have a bona fide world champion from that continent. I believe it'd be the first black heavyweight world champion from Africa. I don't think there has been one before, is there?
I mean, you're telling me I'll bow to you.
As far as I know, I think there's only Francis Botha that's been the world champion.
Yeah. There's a lot of things happening in heavyweight boxing, a lot of dance partners for him as well. With the way the belt.
There's no, mate. Listen, there's not.
No?
There's not. No, they don't want to fight him. They don't want to fight him.
But what about the likes of a Dillian Whyte who needs a dance partner now? He's come back, they have a bit of needle.
Please tell Dillian Whyte people to get in touch with me. We will fight Dillian Whyte in a heartbeat after Cheney. A heartbeat. We'll get that fight on end of summer. No problem.
Is that a fight?
No problem.
Yeah.
Oh, him, Joe Joyce, easy man, easy fight. A good fight, hard fight. Martin will do what Zhang done.
We saw that leaked footage of sparring a few weeks ago. What's your opinion on that? Obviously, sparring footage coming out. Obviously, it's becoming a bit more common these days. What's your opinion on it?
Listen, I think it was a bit of tit for tat. There was comments made about Martin and blah blah blah, and I think it was just retaliated. So don't make comments on don't make lies up about things that didn't happen, because it didn't happen.
So providing, obviously, I don't want to look further afield because we do it all the time in boxing, and it normally causes something to go wrong. But providing Martin gets past the next one, depending on what's going on with belts, fights, and whatever, because everything just seems to be happening at the minute. If Dillian Whyte's in a position to fight, we can do it.
1,000,000%.
How does that fight go in your eyes? I know you don't give away any tactics, but how does that go? He's had a while out the ring now as Dillian. Obviously, he'll need to get...
If Dillian Whyte wants to stand in the middle of the ring with him, he'll outspeed him and knock him out. If he wants to try and box him, Martin will outbox him. Speed, skill, movement. Dillian Whyte's a fucking great fighter. He's had a great career. I hope and pray that Martin has the same standard of career that Dillian Whyte's had. He's done exceptional. I think, and I've said this many times before, when he was mandatory for the world title for 3 years, which is outrageous, he would have won the world title then. He would have won a world title because he was in his prime. He was with Mark Tibbs and he was looking really, really good. Really good. But if he wants to fight Martin Bakole, it's a different level. Yeah. And Martin will absolutely, believe me when I tell you, school him and stop him.
And obviously, they got the other adage of Joe Joyce. He's made a recent comeback against Cash Ali.
If he boxes like that against Martin Bakole, Joe Joyce knows what's going to happen to him.
Yeah, he got a lot of criticism in some quarters. I suppose when you come off two knockout losses, heavy knockout losses as well to Zhang, it's one of them where I look and think, do you expect more? Maybe, but then you think you don't know what the effect of the previous couple of fights have had as well. Is that how you sort of see that, or did you expect more as well?
It's very hard to tell. You don't know what's happening behind him. You've seen that he was very, very heavy as well.
Yeah.
But with the fullest respect, he was coming down levels and levels and levels. You know, against Cash had been beat with a guy we used for a sparring partner in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
You know, big boy for Latvia. And the other man who took credit out of that fight was Cash for going the guts of 10 rounds.
Yeah, 100%, because I know people were eyeing that up to be done early as well, so we've got to tip your hat. Want to get your opinion on a fight that was chucked up in the ether. I think it was Mike Coppinger. I know people had said, I know I spoke to Eddie and he said that fight's not done yet, but still quite strongly rumoured to happen. Zhang and Wilder, thoughts?
Zhang and Wilder knock him out.
Even after the last performance against Joseph Park, you still feel that's...
I think, listen, boxers on the machines, they can't just 100% turn on the quality all the time. He maybe had a bad night. And fair play to Joe Parker for doing what he done.
Yeah,
100%. I think he's caught him. I think at the end of that fight, Joe Parker must have been counting his lucky stars, thinking, I've caught him in his worst possible night in professional boxing.
Yeah, Joe's bounced from that as well to Zhang, and obviously he went through his adversities as well and managed to get through that fight. But then obviously we're talking, if Zhang goes that way, I know he's made a very public call out of Dillian Whyte in quite a hilarious video, Joe Parker, in all fairness to him.
Funny.
Joe Parker, you've seen obviously since the Andy Lee thing, and obviously Dylan's been out a while. Them two have a rematch. How does that toss up in your mind now? Good fight.
What about Martin Bakole and Joe Parker?
Yeah. Well, Martin Bakole and anyone just want to see him in the big fights.
But why is his name never mentioned with these guys?
I suppose.
I know why.
Well, we heard obviously that he's got this Eliminator coming up, so I'm thinking of it as right. That's going to happen. So I'm saying outside of that, because Joe's made this video calling Dillian out, and they've already had the fight. I mean, Martin Bakole versus any of them, like, sign me up. You know what I mean? Like, let's see it. But once he's got that out of the way, then I think then you'll start seeing obviously everything sort of maybe meshed together. Well, it'll have to be his final Eliminator.
Oh, well, I know exactly what's going to be happening. I know exactly what's going to be happening with regards to the WBA. So we're in a very, very strong position. People say, "Oh, you should be fighting this one or that one." Listen, it's so hard to get Martin an opponent. The WBA, we've agreed with the WBA. They've asked us to fight a final eliminator. They picked the opponent. We didn't pick the opponent. We're not in a position to pick the opponent, even though we're number one.
Who's the
opponent? Allowed them. Sorry?
Well, have they named this opponent then yet? When does that get named?
Well, it's been announced weeks ago.
All right, yeah.
Cassius Chaney. Chaney. It was the WBA that mentioned it. It wasn't Martin Bakole. We didn't look out or source out Cassius Chaney as an opponent. WBA said that's who you've got to fight for the WBA final eliminator. No problem. If it was Anthony Joshua, no problem. Daniel DeBow, no problem. Mm-hmm. But it so happens it was Cassius Chaney, so that's who it is. We'll fight him, and then we've done a bit that the WBA have asked us, and then we'll go to the next stage, which hopefully will be by the time Fury and Usyk fight a second fight.
Yeah.
One of them will be made to fight Martin. After that, if they don't, Martin becomes a champion or fight somebody for the championship.
Yeah. Either way, all roads lead to him fighting for a world title, becoming world champion in the next 12 to 18.
No, sooner than that. I don't see Martin. Martin will have 2 more fights max, and then a world title fight.
well, we look forward to seeing him back in the ring. Hopefully, there's no wasps in the air on the night. But
he actually lost his voice.
I know he did. I was in the bloody media room with him, and he was like coughing about. Oh, he ain't right. Jeez. Look, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. Thanks for a quick catch up. We'll catch up. Hopefully, after this fight gets done, and we'll see what's the next state of play. Yeah, big things moving forward.
What I will say is I'm really looking forward to the Usyk and Tyson Fury fight. I think that's a brilliant undercard that they've got for that show. That's a cracker.
What excites you about the undercard?
Well, do you know who I'm glad it's got another shot on it? Mark Chamberlain, because I thought he was exceptional, and I thought he was a standout boxer on the show that night.
Yeah, I know, and I think he's a big favourite of His Excellency as well. I think
that helps. That helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a cracker. Hopefully I'll be there in the coming week.
We need to get Martin Bakole to become a fan of His Excellency and get him back over there, because people took him over there. People took him over there and they loved him. So, there has been other offers for fights over there. Unfortunately, they couldn't get an opponent on quite a few occasions.
Well, hopefully something materialises. I think it will. I think he's in that position now anyway. So
at the end of the day, we understand we're the B side until we win the world title. And maybe even when we're the world champion against the bigger names, might still be the B side. But A side, B side, it's irrespective. When they're in that ring, he will be the A side.
Yeah. Well, look, let's see how it all plays out. But I'm looking forward to seeing him back in the ring first and foremost. Anyway, let's get him back out, and we'll crack on from there. But look, Billy, appreciate your time as always.
You're welcome.
We'll catch up very soon. Thank you.
Take care, mate. All the best. Thank you.